AEW could slash ROH in cost-cutting measures. Plus, the industry reaction to WWE's TV changes has been revealed, and we have an update on future Raw plans. It's all in the Cultaholic wrestling news right now. Could AEW slash Ring of Honor? This is something that came up in conversation after Brandon Thurston was a guest on SE Scoops. It started with Brandon Thurston talking about numerous wrestling business matters, including the financial situation within AEW and their current TV deal.
He said, I think Tony is incredibly committed to Warner Brothers Discovery. He is insanely loyal. I asked him recently if Fox was now a possibility for AEW. With SmackDown leaving, he would only talk about Warner Discovery and how he loves being partners there. Brandon continues saying, I'm confident they aren't profitable now. They need to make $200 million a year in rights to get to profitability. They will get some increase. They could get triple what they're getting now. It's not unreasonable, but he's going to continue to run the company and do what he's doing, whether it's profitable or not.
And now SE Scoops, after speaking to Brandon Thurston, went to speak to some of their sources following the conversation. They contacted some people within the company asking about profitability, and some thought the company needed a TV deal of around $500 million in order to get the annual revenue they need. Another source said there were many areas they could cut costs, saying that travel and the number of AEW wrestlers that were flying first class is much higher than in WWE. That includes staff as well. One source said they hoped, whilst it wouldn't come to that, the roster is massive and paid well and has more wrestlers than they need. Khan has shown no interest in cutting talent on a mass scale. They go on to say, quote, there is Ring of Honor, which is airing weekly on Honor Club without a TV deal, which could potentially end up on a WBD network or could be slashed if need be. When AEW bought Ring of Honor, the reason it took so long to get started because they struggled to find a home for them, and the fact that the show is on Honor Club suggests that is still an issue.
No, they've had not a problem with sign-ups, but it's been reported previously that the number of people signing up to Honor Club is lower than they expected, so it's not bringing in the money that they need right now to make Ring of Honor a profitable brand. I don't personally see it being slashed as it's been put here, but it wouldn't surprise me if various cost-cutting measures are put into effect. It's not surprising, I guess, given the people who are involved within AEW, that more are traveling first class. You've got a lot of industry vets, older people who insist on first class travel, for example. Turning up on a near weekly basis. So that's not a massive surprise, but they're going to need to, I don't want to say trim the fat, because that implies that, it's about getting rid of people, but they do need to find a way to bring these costs down for sure.
And it's when you mentioned about sort of making savings with Ring of Honor, well, they're kind of already doing so much of that already. They used to run separate tapings initially as part of, they kind of replaced Dark where they were filming in Orlando. That was the plan. And now they're being taped as part of blocks for Dynamite or Collision. So they've trimmed it back quite substantially, and the plan really is to use AEW as a marketing place for Ring of Honor. We had a big old rant in the first video about Samoa Joe, right up there. Samoa Joe relinquishing the ROH TV title on AEW and the sheer amount of Ring of Honor belts on AEW. Well, I guess that's kind of their biggest marketing platform for Ring of Honor is AEW.
Yeah, for sure.
But I very rarely, it doesn't feel like they do as much, and I might be wrong and I might have missed something within the weeds of it all, and I apologize if so. I don't feel like they do enough to signpost sending people to Ring of Honor. I might be wrong. And we might get the odd match graphic that goes, coming up on Ring of Honor this week. But obviously the champions are on AEW, but all their belts are defended on AEW. So why should I watch Ring of Honor?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's the best marketing tool that they've got, isn't it, for Ring of Honor, is their weekly TV shows. It's clear that Ring of Honor needs that TV deal. It's a huge amount of money that they need to be profitable, between $200 million and $500 million. So yeah, I think that TV deal is absolutely crucial. And hopefully with that comes a bit of extra exposure from whatever network they end up on. I don't don't think it'll be too long until we see it, but I've been saying that for a while now. I really thought it would have happened by now.
It's all about the telly deals this week, as numerous handshakes are taking place in office complexes up and down America. Yesterday, WWE announced a new deal for NXT to air on the CW, a channel that reportedly Billy Corgan's NWA was in talks with. Well, House of Wrestling brings us up to speed on the reaction within the NWA, not just for the TV deal for NXT, but for Billy Corgan's leadership in general.
Corgan withdrew from those close to him yesterday and did not want to discuss the situation. He's having a bit of sulk. Give him a bit of time. It's all right. As they reported over the weekend, it was Corgan's idea to do the Father James Mitchell segment, which you'll have all seen. White Powder, that one. Which resulted in the CW being inundated with negative social media messages about the spot. One source we spoke to at WWE gave us the impression that talks with the CW accelerated following the incident. They went on to say no segment ever done in wrestling has had that severe of consequences to the promotion than the White Powder spot. House of Wrestling also heard from talent within NWA since the report, expressing frustration with Corgan's current leadership. Due to Corgan's busy schedule touring with the Smashing Pumpkins, some feel that he is unable to relay his creative ideas between shows.
It's a difficult one. Now, several NWA contracts are also up soon. In fact, they're going to be up next summer. Billy Corgan intends to start conversations, according to House of Wrestling, in February to re-sign them. But some of the talent are frustrated by Corgan's leadership, and they're already looking into other places to work. WWE announcing a deal to bring NXT to the CW next year, according to House of Wrestling, has not helped with how talent feel about re-signing. Corgan, according to House of Wrestling, has also been giving talent various tests to see how they react and to prove their loyalty, which have not been well received. Examples of these tests were things like making over talents who come in to work lose right away just to see how they react to it. It's always good when you book to spite.
That's rough, isn't it? So he's talking about the people that are coming in with a bit of name value, and then they're booked to lose their first match, their first few matches. I think that's really silly.
There's an argument to be made that, okay, it's a way of pushing out ego and prima donna-ness in wrestling, but in doing so, you kind of become the prima donna in yourself when you go, you're playing my game now, and you're gonna lose very quickly.
Aren't you shooting yourself in the foot a little bit by doing that? You've got people coming in who maybe fans are a bit more familiar with, and then the hype is immediately removed because they've lost straight away. It's like, oh, that's disappointing.
WWE had a habit of doing that back, and they still do, where they go, you got to do it our way. You got to be built our way, CM Punk losing to Cultaholic. That's not the only example. That's just the first example that pops into my brain.
I think they've got better at that. They still do the thing where you lose in front of your hometown crowd. They still do that from time to time.
Good times.
But if there's money to be made in somebody, you're making that investment. Why would you diminish the popularity of that wrestler by doing something like that?
Exactly. Now, House of Wrestling reached out to the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion EC3 to give his thoughts on their report. He said that Corgan has indeed been more present at tapings than these reports let on. On the subject of frustration from other talent, EC3 said, I know only my business, and my business alone is as far as contracts and other talent. I am very happy with mine as I get to represent and grow the brand, while also challenge myself with other creative endeavors in wrestling. He mentions the tests and said, it's something that I'd never say or complain about. If I'm challenged to do something in lieu of frustrated complaining, I challenge that frustration to take whatever tests I've been given and get better by accepting the challenge. He's been very outspoken as EC3, not so much denying the comments here, but certainly saying from my experience, everything seems all right.
This is the guy that came out when he was being tested by WWE and lazily pointed at the sign.
I mean,
I'm not sure I appreciate him, and you know what? He's going to struggle to talk about this given his position within the company. He's the champion, right?
Yeah, and he also makes a point to say to the locker room, I am always available if anyone wants to or needs to have a conversation. I don't know if I'll be right, but I'll give my best effort and opinion in complete confidence.
That's nice.
That's kind of what a locker room leader needs to be.
Yeah, he was being wasted in WWE, by the way. I've just realized it wasn't really a test, but yeah.
I'm with you. So, TV heavy wrestling news. We'll end on a little bit more. The future of Raw on the USA Network network has a question mark over it, or maybe an asterisk. Brandon Thurston talks a little bit more about where Raw could go.
Said the talk is FX, which is owned by Disney. They could be a buyer for Raw. It's certainly not going to fit on ESPN, the mothership. I don't think they want a work sport on ESPN2 either. ESPN Plus is a possibility, especially with the network and what they were able to give Peacock. Maybe something could be built together there with UFC when those rights are up. So it sounds like the talk or the favorite right now is FX. It wouldn't surprise me at all. There's also been reports recently about the possibility of Monday Night Raw no longer being on a Monday. They're totally open to that as well. Time will tell on this.
What a weird time to think we don't have Raw on a Monday.
It would be really weird. Like, part of me is just like, like if they're going to move days, if there's more money in it moving to whatever night, then fair play. As a wrestling fan, I'd just be a little bit sad. It's Monday Night Raw, do you know what I mean?
That's how it's always been, innit? That's how it's always will be. Back in my day, it was a Friday night on Sky Sports 1. Monday night to the rest of you lot. Hey, we'll have more wrestling news throughout the day at cultaholic.com. Stay safe. Love you. Bye.